What if I told you that whether or not someone likes you, romantically or otherwise, has almost nothing to do with your looks, your income, or how smooth your opening line is? What if the real factors are happening beneath conscious awareness, silent biological programs running in the background of every social interaction you've ever had? Here's the paradox that blew researchers away. In multiple controlled studies, people who deliberately tried to make others like them by highlighting their best qualities actually performed worse than people who did something far simpler. Something that costs nothing. Something you're probably already doing, just wrong. Stay with me, because once you understand the architecture of attraction, you'll never see social interaction the same way again. Most of us approach connection backwards. We rehearse, we perform, we curate. We try to seem interesting, funny, successful. And in doing so, we broadcast exactly what we're afraid of, that we're trying too hard. The dating industry has convinced millions of people that attraction is a game to be won through tactics. And while some of those tactics are rooted in real psychology, stripped of context, they become manipulation. Hollow techniques that actually erode the very thing they're trying to create, genuine connection. So what does the science actually say? Researchers from Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, NYU, and the University of Virginia have spent decades studying this, and the findings, they're counterintuitive, they're humbling, and in some cases, they're genuinely shocking. Let's start with where it all begins. In the 1960s, psychologist Theodore Newcomb ran a now legendary experiment. He measured participants' attitudes on a range of controversial topics, politics, morality, values, and then housed strangers together for extended periods. The result was striking. The strongest predictor of who liked whom wasn't personality, appearance, or humor. It was similarity. People didn't just prefer people like them, they were drawn to them magnetically, almost inevitably. A decade later, researchers at the University of Pittsburgh took this further. They had 4 women silently attend university classes, never speaking to anyone, varying how many times each appeared. Male students were later shown photos of these women. The ones who appeared more frequently in class were rated as more attractive, even though no interaction had occurred. Familiarity itself had changed perception. This is the mere exposure effect, and it rewires how we experience people before we've even said hello. But here's where things get truly strange. In 1999, New York University researchers uncovered what they called the chameleon effect. Participants worked on tasks with partners who were secretly part of the experiment. Some partners subtly mirrored the participants' body language, gestures, and posture. Others didn't. Afterward, participants were asked how much they liked their partner. The mirrored group reported significantly higher liking, even though not one of them consciously noticed the mimicry. Think about what that means. A behavior that was invisible to them changed how they felt. Their brains processed the mirroring not as imitation, but as resonance, as being truly understood. And it wasn't just emotional, it was neurological. Harvard researchers scanning brains in fMRI machines discovered that talking about yourself activates the same reward circuits as food, money, and sex, the same dopamine pathways. Which means the person who lets you talk, who listens, really listens, is literally giving your brain a hit of reward chemistry. That's not a metaphor, that's neuroscience. So what's happening under the hood? Attraction, whether romantic or social, isn't a single feeling. It's a stack of evolved systems making rapid assessments. Princeton psychologist Amy Cuddy has shown that in the first fraction of a second, people evaluate 2 things and 2 things only. Warmth and competence. Can I trust this person, and do I respect them? Crucially, warmth first. Always warmth first. Trust is the evolutionary gatekeeper. Competence only matters once the threat assessment passes. Then comes the oxytocin system. Physical proximity, eye contact, casual touch, all of these trigger oxytocin release, the hormone associated with bonding and attachment. Social psychologist Zick Rubin found that couples in love maintain eye contact 75% of the time or more, far above the average conversational baseline of 30 to 60%. Sustained eye contact isn't awkward when it's genuine, It's chemically intimate. There's also what researchers call spontaneous trait transference. When you speak positively about others, listeners unconsciously associate those same qualities with you. When you speak negatively, the inverse occurs. Your words paint your character, not just your subject. And then there's what Elliot Aronson at the University of Texas discovered, the pratfall effect. People who show competence and make occasional mistakes are more likable than those who appear perfect. Perfection creates distance. Vulnerability creates bridges. Now, what does all of this actually look like in practice? Imagine you walk into a room. You're not performing. You're not anxious. You're genuinely curious about the people around you. You make eye contact, not staring, not glancing, sustained, interested contact. You let people finish their sentences. You ask questions that go deeper than "what do you do?" You laugh when something is funny. You admit when something scared you. Neuroscience says the room is already responding. Research on emotional contagion from Ohio State and the University of Hawaii confirms that emotions are literally contagious. Your nervous system broadcasts your internal state, and others' mirror neurons pick it up. You walk in grounded and genuinely engaged, and the people around you start to feel that groundedness, that engagement, without knowing why. Romantic attraction follows the same circuitry with added signals layered on top. Pre-selection cues, the presence of others who value you; status signals, scarcity, genuine investment in your own life rather than laser-focused pursuit; and the dopamine spike of romantic tension, that exquisite state of wanting and not quite having. The most effective version of all of this isn't tactics, it's authenticity that's been examined, knowing yourself clearly enough that what you project is real, not performed. Here's what all of this converges on, and it's something the ancient philosophers would have recognized without fMRI machines. Connection is not about being impressive. It's about making others feel seen. The chameleon effect works because it signals "I'm attuned to you." Letting someone talk about themselves works because it signals "I find you worth listening to." Revealing vulnerability works because it signals "I trust you with something real." Reciprocity of liking, documented back in 1959, shows we tend to like those who like us, not because we're vain, because genuine positive regard is rare, and when we feel it, something in us exhales. The irony of attraction psychology is this: the more you focus on becoming someone worth knowing, curious, warm, grounded, real, the less you need to think about tactics at all. The science starts working in the background, quietly, automatically, the way all the best systems do. So let me leave you with this. Every interaction you have today is being processed by systems that evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. They're scanning for trust, resonance, warmth, and authenticity. They're not fooled by performance. They're not impressed by volume. They respond to signal, not noise. The research is clear. The most magnetic people aren't the most attractive or the most successful or the most clever. They're the people who make others feel genuinely, specifically, deeply understood. That's a skill. And unlike most skills, it gets better the more human you allow yourself to be. Think about the last person who made you feel genuinely seen. What did they actually do? Because I suspect that if you sit with that question long enough, you'll already know everything you need to know. If this changed how you think about attraction and connection, the next video in this series goes deeper into the neuroscience of trust and why it's the most underrated social skill alive.